This 3D animation shows the complete front-end unit that integrates both the motor mount, firewall, and the nose gear steering box. This image shows the SVG files that come from Fusion 360, which I used to laser cut. I've now imported those SVG files and I'm placing them on the Glowforge interface, which is my laser cutter. Easy to use, love this thing, great machine. I'm now setting up the cut files for the speeds, cut power and so forth for all the individual things like holes, perimeters and so forth. Now off to the laser to cut those files. I'll provide links in the description to many of the tools and materials that I use in my builds. What you see now is the inside of the firewall and the retract box, showing how I fitted it into the prototype. So we're going to basically replicate this right now. These are all the components which we're going to use to mount the motor into the fuselage. It's a unique way of doing it. It aligns perfectly. And okay, first off is this motor does not come with an X mount. So I don't have a machine shop to machine an aluminum one. So what I did with the prototype, I came up with this method. Two 3mm good quality birch plywood. This is about 2.5mm of very good ABS. And then I laminate them like this. So once these are epoxied together, they're really, really strong, and we've had absolutely no problem. We've used it on our test rig for the testing the propeller design on a bench, and we've abused it, and it works great. So I'm going to start by just using some shoe glue. I'm going to laminate the ABS in the middle. I know some of you are saying, oh, shoe glue's crazy, but you know what? It works fabulous. For the cutting out of the front nose section, I like to use this in the Dremel tool. I don't know whether you can see that, but it's, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's just some kind of cutting tool. Works absolutely fabulous on fiberglass. Clean, fast, and easy to use. First off, we're going to chop the nose out and give us access to drop the motor in. I now have the nose cut out plus the intake underneath it. So we're ready to move ahead and begin installing our firewall. I made these washers. They have little holes in them, as you can see. And they're for these blind nuts so that it helps the little leg go in and grip. And I just put a little CA on the back. I've never had a problem with them. All right, I've roughly set the blind nuts in place. I'm going to snug them up once I put some CA on the back sides here. I'll snug them up, let them set up for 30 seconds, and then we'll remove the X mount and get it ready to place the motor on. Okay, we have everything prepared. I've doubled up the firewall. One edge is a little deeper than the other to compensate for the angle of the fuselage. So now we're going to pretty much just pump it in. Place it all up front. Just like this. And then we've got this firewall alignment tool. So this, what I want is when the spinner back plate is on, I want a 1/8 gap exactly, and an exact match to my custom propellers and spinner and back plate and so forth. So what this does, it draws this will sit against here, which the motor will be attached to here, which you'll see in a moment. And then when it draws it in, I align this up with the front, and that will give me a 1/8 spacing of the prop nut front plate sticking out 1/8. So when my spinner back plate goes on, I'll have a 1/8 clearance. So let's get to it. So what we do is line this guy up like that. We pop any kind of spacer on so that so you can fit a nut. And we only need to snug it up so that nothing's moving. So my inside fingers are just basically holding on to the motor can, and then I'm just gonna put some tape here, and I'm gonna line up that back plate exactly with the circumference of the nose. It's very simple yet elegant. So the tape will just hold everything in place so that when I put the adhesive in to fit the firewall, everything will be locked in place. So the only critical part about this is to get the diameter of this spacing system with the front of the fuselage. Wow, a jet just flew low over my house. Military's getting ambitious around here. All right, that's about as close as I need. And now all we have to do is tip the plane up. I'll drizzle some goop around the firewall. It will by gravity seep in, lock everything up, and once it's hard, we shall have everything set in place: the motor, firewall, and the spinner spacing. So we'll come back when it's all cured. All right, so what I've done now, I've just basically put the fuselage vertical, and the prop hub, the prop hub is just sitting inside a paint can, and that just allows me to spot glue this back plate with my trusty Gorilla Glue, and it will harden up quick. And then from the front, which has a wider gap because of the narrowing fuselage. So that's it. It's pretty simple. All of 5 minutes total time to install a firewall motor and spinner alignment, etc. So there we are. I'll take a photograph of the inside so you can see how I've spotted it, and then we'll get to it once that Gorilla Glue is hardened. In this case, I used a fillet of Shugo both in the front and on the back side due to the temperature in the shop. Next video will cover the entire retract system and also show you the motor installed.